Hello guys, welcome back to Beyond the Realms, and today I'm going to be reviewing the Criterion Collection version of Christopher Nolan's very first film entitled Following. Now, I'd never seen this film until today. Crazy, which many of you have seen here on my channel, got this for me for Christmas. Thank you very much, brother. This is one that I was really looking forward to getting. I'm a huge Christopher Nolan fan. I mean, I don't think there's many people that are not right now. It's kind of like the trendy and in things to say, I guess you could say, But, the bottom line is Christopher Nolan is just an amazing filmmaker. I just think the guy is totally incredible with what he's done with, the Batman franchise. That goes without saying. But, I mean, Memento is the one that really started me on Christopher Nolan. Well, that's before I knew who Christopher Nolan was. Just watched Memento, and I was like, wow, man, this is one hell of a film. And, Batman Begins came out, and that's where, start taking notice of his name. And this is the only film that he's made that I hadn't seen. So when I saw Criterion was releasing, I was very anxious to get it. So it's very cool to have it. Thanks once again, Crazy. And to get to the review, this is a film that it's hard to talk about. I mean, it really is, because I think that the best thing to do with this is to just go into it blind, and the least you know, the better. But basically, what the story is about is it's this guy who he's lost his job, he's unemployed. And he is a writer also, and he's trying to find inspiration for his book that he's working on. So what he does is he goes around London, and he follows people in hopes that there'll be some type of inspiration to spring from all this. And he sets his own rules, not following somebody too long. If he ends up learning where they live or where they work, he won't follow them anymore. So there's like this certain set of rules that he establishes for himself. And once he begins to break his own rules, it also becomes his downfall. And one of the people that he ends up following around ends up getting him mixed up into a lot of crime and a lot of trouble. And it becomes this guy's downfall. That's really all I think that should be said about this film. That's basically, the synopsis that you're going to read on the back, maybe a little bit more in depth. But, there's a lot of twisty elements to this, like Nolan is known to do, where things are not as they seem at all. Like, when the film was first starting out, I wasn't really sure what exactly, the point of it was. I couldn't clearly see, what he was doing and where it ended up going. I wasn't sure. And then, it's done in a choppy narrative, sort of like how Memento is, but not quite as elaborate as that, and not quite as good as that, I would say. But it's a choppy narrative where it starts off pretty much in order, and then you start seeing things that are happening in the future, and it kind of bounces back. But it all has a purpose with the way it's played out, and it really makes the big reveals in the film very powerful. But I absolutely love this film, guys. I thought it was fantastic, and it truly shows the genius of how Christopher Nolan, what he's came to be. This was actually shot. He only used 2 different cameras shooting this. They used one in particular for the interior scenes, and then they used a specific camera for the shots that took place out on the streets. And there are actually shots in this film where they took and were filming people walking around the streets of London. And they didn't even know it. It was unbeknownst to the people on the streets. They didn't even know it. So it's like stolen shots, shots they did not have permission to do. They just set up and did them. That's true guerrilla renegade filmmaking, I guess you could say. but it's all black and white. It's kind of like a neo-noir type film. You know, and it's simplistic too. There's not a lot to it. You know, only a couple actors in this film. There's not a whole lot of actors. It's not a real complex story, but everything, it just, I love how it turned out, you know, and the whole reveal at the end, or towards the end, and how everything ends up playing out. I just thought it was brilliant. And, you know, it shows, you know, Christopher Nolan, his genius early on here. So guys, I'm going to give the following a 9.5 out of 10. I love this film. I was really debating on giving it a 10 out of 10. And I was very close to doing that, but the only reason why I didn't is because I still think Memento is a little bit better than this, so that's why I didn't want to give this a solid 10, because Memento I would. But I think, you know, repeat viewings of this, I'll like it even more. I just think it's a great film, and if you're a Christopher Nolan fan, you certainly need to check this out. But if you are not a Christopher Nolan fan and you just like, you know, unique stories, you know, black and white, neo-noir, simplistic, minimalistic type stories, you know, check it out, guys. So, yeah, as far as the extras and stuff like that go, I didn't really look at a whole lot of them yet. I've only watched, I'm actually having on pause now, I watched part of the Christopher Nolan interview. But, you know, it doesn't look like there's a whole lot on here. It does have a chronological edit of the film, which I don't know how that would go, because, you know, the reveals in the film with the way the storyline is chopped up makes it more powerful. I mean, I guess once you already see it, that might be kind of cool to check out, watch it in chronological order. I might do that. It has a 3-minute film by Nolan on here called Doodlebug from '97. It has trailers, has an essay by film critic and programmer Scott Foundas. I'll see if you can, I don't know, if you want to check those out, you can pause it. The film is also short. It's only 70 minutes long. It plays very fast. Got a cool little booklet here, you know, not quite as in-depth as, you know, Criterion usually does, but the film, like I said, it's a simplistic story. It's only 70 minutes, so this is probably adequate for it. Yeah, the Criterion, you know, like always, they do an excellent job. This is spine number 638. This just came out like December 11th, I believe, so it's brand new. So yeah, guys, that is the Criterion Collection version of Christopher Nolan's Following. I appreciate you all watching. Have a good one. Later.